Yesterday, our last class, we were discussing about the Foucault's pendulum. The equations for the Foucault's pendulums are mainly, which is given here. That is the relative force m into d square by dt square RL relative. That is the relative force on the left hand side is equal to the tension in the string, then plus the mass into gravity, and we also know that gravity has to be compensated for that centripetal or centrifugal force. It is the combined mass now because of rotation as well as the gravitational force that is combined in one component here. Then you have minus the Coriolis force. So these are the main components. If you remember from the diagram for this was, you have to imagine. So we were going to analyze this, basically find the solutions for these equivalent equations under some specific initial conditions. So for that you consider the pendulum with a mass. The mass object is shown as the dark component here, which is hung along the zenith axis initially. Imagine that. The length of the string is L. So we will be making certain assumptions later on. The length of the string is L. And then it is oscillating with respect to the east and the north horizon plane. So this is the main figure. So if you consider this figure, along the length is the actual tension acting. So we are decomposing at any particular instance of time along the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So this is the initial configuration now along the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So x-axis is your east, y-axis is your north, and zenith axis is the z-axis. We have decomposed it as shown in the figure here. At any instant of time, the position vector of the mass is r bar or r arrow, whatever way you denote. Then the coordinates, that is unit coordinate vector along the x, y, z or the east, north, zenith axis are e1 dash, e2 dash, and e3 dash. So this is the picture we can have in mind. Then if we look at these two triangles, we can construct actually three such sets. Let us see what it means. So you draw a line along the ty axis. Obviously it is parallel to the y-axis here because it is a y coordinate. Then if you join the tip of the tension T to the tip of the ty, it has to make 90 degrees. The reason is that is the definition of the y component of ty. So how do you compute the components of any vector along the x, y, z coordinates? You just draw perpendiculars. You draw perpendicular to those corresponding axes. In this particular case, the axis is, you have to imagine that the origin is shifted at any instant of time, and then you are drawing these projections along the axes which are parallel to x, y, and z. And then from the pivot point of the pendulum along the z-axis, you drop a perpendicular to the same line which is parallel to the y-axis. That is, it's an extension of the ty. If you drop the perpendicular, then you can look at two similar triangles. So from these two similar triangles, we will be drawing certain conclusions. So similarly, we can do something similar even for the y-axis as well as the z-axis. So let us see what conclusions we can draw. So we make these assumptions, that is L is the length of the pendulum, Z is height of the pendulum, that is you look at it at a point. So this is slightly, the perspective may not be very good here, but the height of the pendulum above the XY plane is denoted by Z. For that what I have done is a perpendicular has been dropped to the z-axis from the mass point, and then you measure the height from the origin along the z-axis. So that is your z, the height of the pendulum above the xy plane. Then you have x as the x coordinate of the position vector r, y coordinate of position vector r is y, and z is your, I think, yeah, z is your height above the plane, which is your z coordinate, obviously. And then the L minus z represents from the pivot point to the point where the perpendicular has been dropped from the mass point. That is where L minus z. Then the position vector is given by x. Position vector is r. The position of the mass point is given by x times e1 dash plus y times e2 dash plus z times e3 dash. So far, it's just the basic definitions. And similarly, the tension also has these expressions Tx e1, Ty e2 plus Tz e3. So from the figure, from these similar triangles, what we can obtain is the, you look at first, let us look at Ty because we have drawn the line for that. So Ty divided by the tension modulus of T, that is Ty divided by the modulus of T, is equal to the length, how much is available in the y coordinate. So that is your, how far away it has moved in the y coordinate, that is your minus y, and the overall length L. So these are the conclude. Similarly, this is true even for Tx divided by modulus of x minus x times L. So it is minus x and minus y because the way we have drawn in the figure, in the positive xy quadrant, this is how it appears. The coordinates Ty and Tz are actually in the opposite directions of y and x. So z is in the positive direction. So we have Tz minus Tz divided by modulus of T, L minus z by L. So depending on the distance or the amount it moves in the xyz direction, there is a proportional movement in the proportional tension that is felt by the object. So that is what this expression means. That proportionality will have this negative sign and other things depending on whether it is being pulled or pulled in which direction. That is why the minus signs appear. Any questions here? This is the main. Once we have this, it is just substitution and deriving the results. So this is the main construction for any pendulum, and especially for a Foucault's pendulum.
No questions.
Okay, so therefore the overall tension T can also be written as this particular expression, that is the coordinates of T are minus x minus y, L minus z divided by L and modulus of T. So this is what we can obtain. These are the coordinates. We are obtaining Tx, Ty, Tz in terms of x, y and L minus z, and of course the modulus of tension T. So for a very large pendulum, we can make certain assumptions. That is, if the length is very large, then, and if you assume that the amount it moves away in the x and y direction is very less, and also the height above which it rises above the ground. So you imagine some 10-meter string, and then at the bottom around a few centimeters of motion along the xy, then obviously the height variations also will be very low. Therefore, x by L, y by L, and z by L will be significantly less than 1. So we can make these approximations. We will be using it in our derivations. Let us compute this omega cross VREL because this is required to compute the Coriolis component. Minus 2 times this is the Coriolis component. So if you look at the omega, we have already constructed omega is the rotation rate of the Earth. It is felt along the north and the zenith axis. E2 dash is the north axis, E3 dash is the zenith axis. So from the earlier discussion, the rotation rate is felt along the north and the zenith axis. East is always perpendicular to the rotation axis of the Earth. Therefore, the component along the east axis of the rotation is always 0. So where pi is the latitude of the observer. Depending on the latitude position, these components are going to change. So in addition to that, you should notice that modulus of omega is nothing but lambda dot rate of change of longitude and angular velocity are same. So anyway, that is for your reference. So if you look at this omega cross v rel, you can compute it as this particular expression. Any questions until now? This is just omega cross v rel we are computing. You just have to keep that in mind. Rest of things are.
No questions.
Okay. So let us now substitute in this equation the relative auxiliary force on the left hand side, then the remaining components on the right hand side. So if you simplify these equations, you get these expressions because t we already have expressed. I will just go back one slide and show. T is expressed as modulus of t minus xl minus yl minus y divided by l and l minus z by l. So that we have substituted on the right hand side for t. We have just taken out three components now: x component, y component, and z component. And similarly, mg is along the zenith axis. So only you will see that component in the zenith. And to omega cross v rel, we just computed here. It has E1 dash, E2 dash, E3 dash. Along the E1 dash, it has modulus of omega z dot cos phi minus y dot sin phi. So that is the part which is given here for x component. Similarly, for y component, you have x modulus of omega x dot sin phi. Modulus of omega x dot sin phi. Since it is 2 times that, you have to substitute that 2 also. And for z, you have modulus of omega x dot cos phi, modulus of omega x dot cos phi. The mass has to be substituted 2 times and also 2 times mg in the k direction. So this is your differential equation, and then we will use now that approximation that L is significantly large. So if you use that, so this where is that approximation? Yeah. So Z by L is significantly less. Okay. So Z by L is significantly less than 1. So X by L and Y by L are going to vanish, and what remains is only that. Let us see. To eliminate the unknown string constant, we use this approximation that the pendulum is very, very long. I'll just keep this. Yeah. Pendulum is very long. The pendulum oscillates with small amplitude. That is, x and y perturbations are very small. And also that z by L is 1, very close to less than 1. This is what we already indicated. The first assumption implies that. Therefore, L minus z by L, z minus L, sorry, z by L is very almost 0. So therefore, you have L by L, which is equivalent to L minus z by L. The second assumption, it is indicating that it oscillates with small amplitude, means it is not moving along the z plane. So z, the height by which it increases. You imagine you have a 10 or 20 meter long pendulum, and then you are just oscillating by few centimeters along the x and y plane. So for us, x and y plane oscillations are important because we are not going to make certain conclusions there. However, along the height, variation is going to be significantly low. So therefore, we can assume that mz double dot is 0. So in this equation, L minus Z by L will become 1 and M Z double dot is 0. So therefore, we can estimate what is the modulus of T, because modulus of T is required in the other expression.
Sir,
So this quantity for modulus of T. Yes.
sir, shouldn't we take Z dot equal to 0 also?
Probably will it indicate, because Z dot, probably we can take Z dot also 0, but we don't require it now, no? In this equation, when we substitute, we don't immediately require it. So it is, yeah, in a way, that is also 0. But we don't require that number now. From the third
Okay, sir.
equation, we are trying to estimate only the tension T. There is no, oh, I think Z dot is also there, no? Yeah, Z
The
dot also
X,
probably we will be assuming 0. Yes, let us see. Let us check it out. I think it will be assumed to be 0. Let us check. Yeah, so this is the equation we obtain after substituting in the this expression. So, yeah, Z variation we don't require actually. We have to consider only X variation. So Z variation will be, let us see. So product of the small terms modulus of omega and x by L. So we are going to assume only x by L, and modulus of omega is already 10 power minus 5. So this and x by L product will be set to 0. I think that is this term. Okay, so this is for x double dot differential equation. So z dot is 0, as you rightly pointed out, because we are not assuming any motion in the z direction. We are going to convert the entire system into only motion along the xy plane, and then we are going to make an observation. So x double dot is minus g by L x plus 2 times modulus of omega sin phi y. Any questions in this?
no, sir.
We are not assuming x by L to be 0 or something. What we want is x by L multiplied by 10 power minus 5 order, which is modulus of omega. That quantity we have eliminated. So as you rightly pointed out, even the z dot quantity is also 0. Basically, we are not interested in z motion, and it is very small when compared to the length of the star. So similarly, we do the same thing for the y dot. This is for x double dot, and similarly for y double dot, we do the same thing. We expand it, and then we set this term to be 0. Product of modulus of omega y by L is small, so we get this. So we have got at least some kind of symmetric equation now. So what is the overall equation now? Is this particular thing. So okay, do you recognize something? It's a coupled linear equation. Length is fixed, g is fixed, modulus of g, omega is also fixed, and latitude is also fixed. Therefore, it is it a linear or non-linear equation?
Linear.
Yeah, because from
Linear.
here a times minus ax plus by dot minus something cy plus dy dot, something like that. And then do you also recognize it's a second order equation now? And how do you solve this? These are two linear coupled differential equation, which is going to describe the oscillations of this pendulum under the influence of Coriolis force with a reasonable amount of approximation. So this is the standard second order equation you might have come across. That is, you can see this cross coupling x double dot x y dot and y double dot is y and x dot. So it's a pendulum frequency can be given to be square root of mod g by L. So you can, when you write it down, you will get these complex eigenvalues, and then you will say You will see these are the expressions. So let us assume that modulus of G by L is k square and modulus of omega times sin phi is alpha. So we are also going to make one more assumption, mod pi square divided by k square. So one is the Earth's rotation rate. Then you also have the pendulum's oscillation rate. So the pendulum's oscillation rate and the Earth's rotation rate. If you divide these two, you get pendulum's oscillation rate is significantly less. Not rate, the time period. The time period is less. Time period is less means you are doing more number of oscillations before the Earth completes one rotation. And also, we are going to make the assumption that alpha is significantly less than k. K is your this quantity, square root of G by L. So modulus of omega is already of the order 10 power minus 5.
Yes.
K is your frequency or time period?
Frequency.
Okay. Yeah. It has a higher frequency. And phi is your latitude. Latitude is sign of the latitude. Since latitude varies from 0 to 90 degrees at most, the sign of that quantity is always less than 1. So what you have is at least the order of this quantity is 10 power minus 6, this one. Or maximum it can reach is 10 power minus 5. So that is significantly less than this quantity. That is the assumption we are making. So modulus of G is how much? 9.8 meters approximately, divided by length of the string. So if it is a 10-meter string, you will get 1 radian per second. So 10 power minus 5 less than equal to this quantity. So that is a reasonable assumption. I am just assuming one 10-meter string here. Even if it is larger, still it is reasonably accurate. So T pendulum is the pendulum period and T earth is the earth period. It is 1 day. So 1 day is obviously significantly large in compared to the pendulum periods. So let us make, basically we have to now see what is the equation, solution of this equation. Let us assume that initially you pull to a distance L along the x direction and then leave it. And then initially you don't push it, you just leave it. Therefore, x dot is 0 in the beginning. And then in the y direction, you don't move it at all. So the y velocity is set to 0 in the beginning. So in the beginning, it is basically taking the string to a certain distance along the east direction and then leave it. So you would be expecting that the pendulum will always oscillate along the east and the west direction. So however, you will notice that this one will change. That is what we are going to show. The pendulum is displaced by a distance L towards the east and released at t0 without any initial velocity. So you have to go back and verify that the x and the y components are given by this particular expression. L of cos kt plus cos alpha t minus L of cos kt and sin alpha t. It's not difficult to verify. You can substitute and see, or you can cook up the solution for this differential equation also. This is a straightforward solution. So we have to basically interpret these results. Any questions until now?
No, sir.
So the differential equation is given on the left. We have made certain assumptions. And then the main initial conditions are these ones. So if you set these initial conditions and solve, you get this solution. The oscillation is along the x and the y, north and the east. So even though you had not given anything along the y direction, you can see that the object still has some oscillations along the y. In the sense, you will see that y coordinate also is non-zero, even though it was 0 in the beginning. So let us try to interpret that. So the position vector is now L times cos kt, cos of alpha t e1 dash minus sine of alpha t e2 dash. So this kt is the oscillations of the pendulum. So this is like an amplitude. And then you have some vector n, cos of alpha t e1 dash and sine of alpha t e2 dash. So this represents a vector in the xy plane. So the xy plane vector will, how the xy plane vector moves will depend on how these quantities are changed. And the amplitude is depends on this cos of kt. So you have L of cos kt times n. So the factor L cos kt describes the motion of the pendulum that has an amplitude L, okay, and frequency this one. So with this amplitude and with the frequency modulus of g by L, you will obtain the motion of the pendulum. In addition to that, you have one more term, the vector n. What is the behavior of the vector n? We have to see. The term n describes the unit vector which rotates with frequency this one. That means as time changes, you can see that this quantity is also changing. So even though this is a very small quantity, the movement, the changes of the vector n happens with respect to this one. After how long you will notice that it has moved to, let us say, you start with initially some positive component along the E1 dash and minus E2 dash. If you have to move in the opposite direction, how long it takes will depend on this time period. So when this becomes, this multiplied by t becomes 180 degrees, you will see that your oscillations have flipped. So let us see what it is now. At the equator,
Sir,
yeah.
Sir, alpha equal to 180 degree is same as alpha equal to 0 degree, right?
Will it be 0? Will it be same?
Sir, like flipping means.
At 0, let us see what happens. Suppose initially time is 0. Initially time is 0, you will get cos alpha. This quantity is 1, E1 dash. You have something at E1 dash. And then, so the pendulum is pulled to the E1 dash. So you will see only X component.
Yes, sir, but cos kt can be negative at that time because it is very fast. This cos kt change will be very fast. So
that moment is,
0
initially the vector is along the XY plane. Because
yes.
I think the assumption was, let us go back to this thing. Yeah, here. Alpha is significantly less. That means the oscillations of K are faster. So N is initially oscillating only along the north and the, sorry, X and minus X plane. Right?
Yes, x z or like
no, Z is not there. X and minus X only, no? The movement, Z we
yes,
have
sir.
assumed no movement. So
X and
basically,
minus x.
yeah, X and minus X. It simply oscillates along the X and minus X. So as time keeps on increasing, the contribution of this quantity improves. See, this quantity is actually modulus of omega times sine phi. So 10 power minus 5. So that means when t becomes 10 power minus 5, this becomes significant. Or okay, in order to have 1 radian also contribution from this angle, you have to have t as 10 power 5 order, right? So very
Yes, sir.
large time, over a large period of time, this oscillation happens. The movement of this vector happens.
Yes, sir.
Am I making sense or am I only?
Yes, sir. That is fine, sir. I am saying that that alpha equal to 180 degree is essentially the same as alpha equal to 0 degree, right? So because I'm moving along at 0 degree, x to x.
Okay, now I got it. I should say if it is 180 degrees, sine pi, sine of that is also 0. Not alpha, I should say alpha times t. So if alpha t is 180 degrees, so sine of that is 0, only that it is in the negative direction. That's all. So if you want to move by 90 degrees this vector, what you say is I should say pi by 2 radians, alpha t.
Yes, sir.
Is that what you wanted to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. So I was imagining that 180 degrees is the flip. Yes. You are right. Oh, no, when I meant, okay, you are talking about 90 degrees movement. Yeah,
Sir,
you're right.
like we, so the flipping is not like it
Yeah,
doesn't exist here.
it doesn't, it is meaningless.
Sense. Yes, sir.
Actually. Right. So, however, we notice one thing that at the equator, the phi, the latitude is 0. Therefore, alpha is actually 0. So, at the equator, what happens is this n vector, since alpha is 0, the motion is along only the east dash axis. So, this contribution is always 0. So, at equator, the n vector does not rotate. So that means Foucault pendulum cannot be used at the equator to determine whether the Earth is rotating. Okay, so let us, I will show you some videos also after this. At the poles, you will notice that phi is plus or minus 90 degrees, so alpha is plus or minus 5. N rotates with the speed of the Earth itself. Then in one day, the N does a complete rotation. So,
Sir,
yes.
sir, in the equator, if the initial displacement is along y direction and not
Hmm.
in the x direction, then will it so this focal pendulum will it show the deviation?
Think we have to solve this equation and see whether this one is this equation. So whatever we have solved is with the x perturbation. We have not solved with y perturbation. So we have to really solve that and see. I cannot answer it immediately. So you are saying that suppose if I had given an oscillation along the y direction, uh, will we see any changes?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Mhm. Okay, so I cannot answer immediately unless we solve that equation. But I don't think that may happen. Okay, we have to solve to really understand that. Okay, keep that question. Probably we can try to solve it sometime. Let us look at this vibrational plane. N actually this vector cos alpha t e1 dash minus sin alpha t e2 dash represents the vibrational plane, that is the oscillation plane. Instead of vibration, I should say oscillation plane. In the northern hemisphere, phi is greater than 0 and sin phi is greater than 0. So this is how you can imagine initially you have set the motion. So after a short while, if we are started from the east direction, the sine of alpha t and the cos of alpha t both are greater than 0. So since these components are greater than 0, I should see the motion anti-clockwise. Is it correct? there is something issue here. So if you look at cos of alpha t, sin of alpha t, if both are positive, then you have in the north direction, it will go to the south direction, right? Okay. Therefore,
Sir,
the motion should, if I start from the east, the question is, will it move towards the clockwise or anti-clockwise? Yes. You are saying something.
no, sir, it's fine, sir. I was thinking like if we place it at the North Pole, then how do you define the axis there, north and east?
Yeah, so when we say north, actually we have to come very close to the north and then do this exercise. Yeah. Otherwise, we cannot define this north and east.
Yes, sir.
True. That's the singularity there. So this one, let us analyze the motion. What happens in the east? Sorry, E2 dash is the north. So if you are in the northern hemisphere and then you have started the pendulum along the east, so it will. So this figure actually does not represent very clearly. It actually moves in the clockwise direction. The reason is in which quadrant will be n when cos alpha t and sin alpha t are positive. It is in the fourth quadrant, right? So in the fourth quadrant, you have coordinate of E1 dash positive and E2 dash negative. So initially you are along the x-axis and then you have moved to the fourth quadrant. That means the motion is anti-clockwise. Sorry, clockwise. Is that correct? The n
Yes, sir, the
vector
motion is clockwise.
clockwise. Yes, the n vector moves in the clockwise direction. So in the northern hemisphere, the n vector moves in the clockwise direction. In the southern hemisphere, what happens to phi? Phi is negative. So cos of alpha t is negative and sin of alpha t is, sorry, cos of alpha t is positive, sin of alpha t is negative. So the motion, even if you start from the east, both the quantities have become positive now. It will be rotating in the anti-clockwise. So the pendulum's motion, that is the oscillatory plane of the pendulum, will be in the north direction. So yeah, that is the, yes. The vibrational rotates clockwise. Northern hemisphere clockwise, southern hemisphere counterclockwise. In equator, we have this experiment fails, but however, you have pointed out that if I set the different initial conditions, will the same conditions hold? So we have to actually solve and see whether these expressions hold for different initial conditions. Okay, so some of the actual motion is given here. If you release the pendulum from the max position, that is from the L, if you release, you can see this pointed star motion. But however, if someone pushes it from the center, you can also imagine that you are at the center and then you are pushing it. So then you will notice that the pendulum remains, shows these kinds of motions. So this you have to actually analyze. You have to actually solve with different initial conditions and then see. Basically, we have to solve a generic system and then apply initial conditions and see. So this is left as an exercise to check these motions. So one is on the left hand side, it never passes through the center. And on the right hand side, it always passes through the center when you release it, when you push it from the center. On the left hand side, you are releasing it from the maximum position. Of course, there are many other assumptions we have made, so that is why we are. Okay, so that then I will be showing one video now shortly. And then some of the Coriolis force video we have seen. I'll show you the pendulum, Foucault's pendulum video. You can also see it, but meanwhile let me show you. Any questions here?
No, sir.
Basically, we have to solve that equation. That is the key. Fortunately, it is a linear equation, not difficult. So let me search for the video. I have it somewhere, but it may not work. Therefore, I have to look at the. So I will share that link, YouTube link. One of you can display that. It's you observe on the side they have kept some tabs which will fall down. I will show that shortly. Yeah. Can you close it? Check where they are conducting this experiment. All done? Basically, it's not a standard pendulum. Usually, your normal pendulums are forced to oscillate only along one plane. So that is why you will not see this. So you should allow this rotation of the pendulum. And, did you notice that it fell down?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very good. And there was one more experiment, live experiment, which will.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, how do you know it is not because of wind or something?
Wind.
Yes,
But in
sir.
the room, there will be controlled this thing conditions. So you have to actually really control the. I don't know how you will prove that. You ask me. Basically, you will control the environment where the wind will not be there. But within the room also, you don't expect too much wind. So is there a way to validate it is not without wind? What will you do? Basically, you have to take it to different location and demonstrate this rate of oscillation, whatever theoretically we have derived.
Okay, sir.
That is one way. Other than that, I don't know. I am trying to find out one more website where live pendulum is it is still running. In the sense, people can go there and look at that in the exhibition. It was not here. Let me check just one moment. I think it's here. Just one moment. Any other questions, Meanwhile, today we will be stopping it at that location. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to figure out where is this live experiment.
Sir, we have another class.
Yeah, sure. Sorry. So then that's all. We will end the class now. I'm also sharing one more website. You can later on go through that for the purpose. So the class is over. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm here just to see if you have questions. Otherwise, the class is over.
Thank you, sir.